Half of it ended up on my desk.
Maybe I won't do the cheers.
No, keep it in. I like it.
Okay. Grab your popcorn, pour your drink of choice, and hit play. This is Pop, Pour, Play,
where we dive into shows you don't want to miss. I'm Kevin.
I'm Nichelle.
And welcome to our podcast.
Welcome back. And if you're new to this channel, hello, Gubna.
Hello. Just a heads up, we have time-stamped this episode, so heads up, there are some spoilers, so feel free to click around and skip a section. This week, we are watching Severance, as we all know. If you've been here before, you know this very well. And we are also looping in a new show. We are watching Primetarget, also on Apple TV. Super excited to talk about this one today. Before we dive in, though, I gotta ask, what is in your cup?
I created this Cipher cocktail. Yeah, a little fancy here. I will share the ingredients with you and the people watching.
This week I came through and I have a gin and tonic in hand. No recipe, 2 liquids. You decide your own ratios, and I wish you best of luck with it.
And cheers before we dive in.
Cheers.
So again, there could be some spoilers. So if you want to continue watching.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Let's do Severance. Let's flip the script. Last time we did Severance second. Let's do Severance first.
Severance is an Apple TV series that follows employees of Lumen Industries who undergo a procedure that surgically divides their work and personal memories. It explores themes of identity, control, and the consequences of extreme work-life separation. Will we ever find out what the goats are for?
3 words.
My 3 words are secure, because I'm feeling pretty good about my theories watching this episode.
Okay.
2, I'm alert. The cowbells woke me up.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
I'm watching.
Cowbells. Yes.
I'm watching everything.
Yes.
And pumped because of how the episode ended and, just seeing that process of reintegration and, What about you?
Yes. Well, you took one of mine, being like, I was fascinated about that reintegration process. Excited to see it. Unsettled about those folks in the mammalian
nurturing, I think.
Yes. Yeah. So it made me think about, I got to go back to one of my shows, The Walking Dead, when Rick met the people at the junkyard, and then still just skeptical on what people's motives are. Why is this young child here? What is that? Meal check. Oh God, I gotta say something about the meal check scene. But anywho, let's just say a lot of skepticism all around.
Let's do it. Give me your first hot take.
My first hot take is meal check and this mysterious board. I'm almost thinking this board is actually somebody sitting next to Kier's body or someone deathly ill and tapping on something that's telling this other person
Morse code. No idea.
Almost like Breaking Bad. Here I go again. I don't know if you watched Breaking Bad.
I did.
Okay. But you remember the uncle who would tap on the bell?
Yes.
This cannot be real people on this board. Something is real funky with this. But my hot take is basically when Milchek was in there with
Natalie,
yes, thank you. It was around them giving him that gift where they wanted him to see himself in Kier.
Yeah. I thought that was an odd move. I think
odd. It's saying it, not putting it nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, interesting. And I felt like Milkshake didn't know how to respond to that. And I kind of felt the same way. On top of that, Natalie, I just get like weird vibes from her. I feel like there's like a screw missing in her brain. Maybe she's like a science experiment. We just don't know it yet. But I don't know. I just felt very uncomfortable by it all.
It was definitely uncomfortable. So I was kind of nervous actually when they said see yourself in it, because I was like, what direction is this going to go when he unveils this like friendly gesture? But at the end, when she was like, they want you to be grateful or show gratitude or whatever it was, there was this look with Milchek where I was like, okay, he's not completely gone. Because I felt like he was looking at Natalie like, girl, now you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had this like exchange for a minute.
Congratulations, Seth.
She completely missed that he was like, what is this shit right here?
Well, didn't she say they got her the same gift too, and she was like,
actually,
she loved it. No,
yeah,
so
yeah,
she's drinking the Kool-Aid for sure.
She could either that or she's just putting on a front, and who knows what her goal is at the end of all of this.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more to her specifically.
I do too. Yeah,
later. There's just something so off about her, and they're totally doing it on purpose. They want us to feel off with her, but I just don't get why. So my hot take is going to be mammalian nurturing. And this is where they're raising the goats. We discover it's this farm that's in the basement, and they crawl through tunnels to get there. And there's 50 to 100 goats in a basement. I just can't get over that fact that they're able to.
Did you see? Did you really count 50 to 100? Because that did not look like that. Looked more like 15 goats.
I think it was more than that.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and start counting. But
yeah.
But there's this whole like ecosystem for goats and nothing else. And there's grass. There's like grass pastures in the basement. But we get to meet people in this department called mammalian nurturing. Whoever's naming these departments definitely needs to get fired. But there was the guy that was dressed up as a goat or whatever, and I'm pretty sure that guy was the same guy from season 1 that yelled at them for even walking into the goat room screaming that they weren't ready.
Right. Well, you're good with faces because I didn't recognize him. But I did also think that was really weird. I immediately saw him when they came in the room.
But we meet the lady with the bandana. I don't really remember what her name was in the show.
I don't know. I don't know her name in the show. I'm not sure that they said it because they were doing a lot of talking with just their like facial expressions or something. But I do know she's from Game of Thrones, Brienne of Tarth. I just had to throw that in there because it was good seeing her.
We're going to call her Brianna for now then.
Let's do that.
So we meet Brianna and she's very just standoffish to the heli and Mark being there. And all they're trying to do is find Mark's wife, really case the joint and see if they've seen her before. And they're not giving any information. Why they're so standoffish, not too sure. But I guess this is kind of like optics and design where they were like, we hate MDR.
Right, they could have been conditioning them because the first thing, right, when he came in was like, "Are you here to kill me?"
Yeah.
So that tells us they could have probably been putting up the same type of like artwork or creating this story of these other people within the company or departments.
And I wonder like what happened that they're immediately like thinking I'm going to get killed because there's
exactly
in here.
Yeah, exactly. What was interesting also was how they wanted to look at their bellies.
For pouches. Do goats have pouches?
I don't think so. You want to type that out, right? Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure goats don't have pouches. Oh, but did they say pouches?
See, pouchless.
And then he's like, that doesn't mean anything. I thought they were looking for a belly button. And then I was thinking to myself, if somebody's like, let me see your belly. And then they're having that whole discussion about, see, they have something. Then I would have been like, yo, show me your belly. Because I need to know if you're human. Right.
So I'm glad you brought this up because this is kind of what I was trying to get to. I don't know if you caught this part when they finally got Brianna to open up about Miss Casey.
Casey. Mm-hmm.
Miss Casey. So we know that Miss Casey has been there. She was doing wellness checks for that department as well.
Yep.
And it wasn't really specific to MDR or any other department. So it seems like she had exposure to everybody. And they did mention that she used to be in the husbandry tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that is?
No. Are you looking right now, or did you already look?
Yes. No, I did not look. It's a husbandry tank is a tank that is used for the care and maintenance of aquatic animals such as fish, seals, or sharks. I'm more confused now because I thought we were talking about goats. I think they're doing crazy ass experiments down there. One, Miss Casey's in a husbandry tank. I imagine her floating in water with like tubes hanging out of her. And they're like poking and prodding her. They're looking for belly buttons and pouches or just pouches on these people. So maybe they're like combining humans with animals.
Are we going back to Guardians of the Galaxy type stuff?
Yeah.
The people in that mammalian nurturing department, they don't look like they're going outside. They don't feel like, to me, they have an outie.
Exactly. I think they're down there, like permanently, taking care of animals and fish and whatnot.
Yeah. But I will say, when she rang that cowbell, they mounted up, boy. It was ready to rock and roll.
From where? From where? Did they like crawl out of a mole hole?
I don't know. I felt like,
Were they really not goats in the room? And I'm thinking they're goats and they're all just dressed up as goats and there's really only like 2 goats?
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
You're going too far. You're going too far. It was goats in there. But yeah, they was hiding in the cuts. Someone was probably behind that vending machine in there. Who knows? That was comical. That was comical. Vending machine and one desk. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll say another hot take for me was Rickon, right? That's Devin's husband.
Oh my God. I completely forgot about this. Continue, but yeah.
He was so opposed to this process and seemed it was very trivial. And now he has someone, of course, she's stroking his ego. Your book changed so much. Now we want to basically kind of rewrite it so that it can fit Lumen's objectives. That he's even just entertaining this idea is pretty interesting. And I know Devin was probably like, what the hell?
Yeah. I think it was totally like self-serving. I think you hit it right on the head that like Natalie was there telling him what he wanted to hear. And do they actually want his book? Maybe they do. But I think there's an ulterior motive there and I haven't quite figured it out. Maybe Milchick was suspicious of the sister during the first visit. So they noted it somewhere and now they're keeping tabs. And this might be their way of doing it.
This is a way for them to stay connected, to keep showing up. And I know I would have come in and been like, okay, if somebody else from Lumen comes up in my house one more time,
I would have kicked her out right then and there and be like, you have to go, Rickon.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
Right.
How do we feel about what Devin and Mark are up to?
Well, I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to work. This UV light that you're just looking into to try to burn this thing into your memory or this image. When, what's her name? Ragabi or Asia Ragabi or something, the lady from the school, right?
Her last name is Ragabi. I can't remember her first name.
Yeah, I can't either, but I think it was with an A. When she showed up, I was like, oh my God, perfect timing, because I was thinking the same thing. Does this dude think this is going to work and he's going to burn his eyes out?
I was hopeful. I was like, oh, maybe this will work. If anything, I would have done it. I would have pulled up to work like in the parking lot and just like and then run in.
Well, I'm glad he was doing a test run so he didn't waste his time. I love how she was like, she said exactly what I was thinking. Like, are you serious? You really think this is gonna work? But it was interesting. It's interesting to see that he is trying to get a message in. He's definitely in it to find his wife. And the fact that she confirmed that his wife is alive. Well, at least the last time she saw her.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping she would like indicate when she saw her last.
Good point. Yeah. Right, because how long has she been gone? And she did indicate she's better now with the reintegration. So how many times has she been trying this?
I think she's more spread out than we think. She has more like she's in contact with more people than we think. Yeah, because to your point, she must be testing this out and trying to reintegrate other people, and she's perfecting her process. She just came out of nowhere.
I was just glad that she popped up, that she was able to confirm, yes, Gemma is alive.
Yeah. Do you remember when we talked about that video where Lumen is listening and they were talking about the different locations that they have and that they're in 260 countries?
Did you go back?
What do you, yeah, 260.
So they said 260 countries.
Yeah. And we only have like 195 technically currently in today's day. I did just Google Salt Snack Severance, and obviously it's a mysterious town. So I'm wondering if this is, again, a futuristic version of the world where they've divided country lines maybe, and they have new towns like Salt Snack.
Right.
I think there's definitely like a weird world.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, because we rarely see people. There's no traffic. So which makes me think if it's the future, we're all the people. Population increases, not decreases, as the world ages. And so it's interesting that they have these vast amounts of land with no pedestrians, no other people. I mean, the restaurant Pips barely saw anyone else. Yeah. The properties that they're living at, of course, are Lumen properties. I don't see anyone else. There's like a handful of people that I've seen. But then what's interesting is you do have Devin and her husband and his friends and the lady who we also think may have been severed, who was like that senator's wife.
I think there might be a lot of people underground and we don't know that yet. Because like maybe they're raising goats for food. Kind of like that show Silo that I was watching where they're all living underground and they have a farm underground and they're sustaining themselves.
Yep.
Maybe that's what they're preparing for.
Yeah.
Or doing actively.
Or right. So I will say that I think my last hot take would be Miss Cobell. She's really invested in wanting to finish this. What is it? Cold Harbor?
The case or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Something with Mark and Miss Casey or Gemma. It was the Miss Cobell Helena showdown. And when she was like, well, let me call up the board. Let's go talk to them together. She just came to her senses, backed up, and hauled out of that park.
Kudos, because she was definitely getting killed right then and there. There was no board meeting, I don't think. Just like the guard behind her looked like he was ready to like grab her.
Right.
The second she got close enough, and she smartened up. She wised up and got out of there.
Yeah, I was literally waiting for it's like tilt on two wheels. She turned the corner. I don't know what's going on, but excited to see what's going to happen. Excited to see Mark now, who's reintegrating, go back into Lumen. Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Next episode is going to be one for the books. I can just feel it. It has to be. Now we got to talk about Prime Target.
Prime Target is a high-stakes thriller on Apple TV where a genius mathematician accidentally cracks into a code that could hack the world. Now, with spies and shady figures after him, it's a race to stay alive and outsmart the system. All right, so I think that they introduced a lot of characters that I felt like I wanted them to give me more in episode 1. I really had to take notes and write people's names down, and I wasn't too sure how are they connected, and they tried to throw in like nuggets as they went along, but I don't know, it was just a little choppy to me, and I was thinking, will this hold my attention or not?
So I'm definitely gonna see it through to the end.
All right.
I love these, conceptual shows where it's something that could potentially be a real thing. And I agree. It felt like a little bit of, it was a lot of information all at once. So it's like, okay, we have to like puzzle it together. It was a little bit of a slow burn too.
Yeah.
In trying to get to, okay, like what are we here for? What are we watching this for?
Yep.
What's the problem?
Yep.
And I think we got more of that in episode 2. Let's start off with your 3 words.
All right. So my 3 words for Prime Target: 1, intrigued. Intrigued by prime numbers being maybe the thing that unlocks the human code. I actually got sidetracked and started playing some prime number game on Google. The other one that I did was cautious. So I don't know who's good, who's bad. And I'm like really suspicious about these people who are keeping tabs on all of these professors. Do they really work for a legitimate government agency?
My 3 words, I'm kind of in the similar vein as you, but I have curious because I'm intrigued to see if this is actually a possibility. If we can figure out the sequence of numbers, can we actually hack the world? It doesn't feel far off.
I feel like there's people out there who constantly trying to do it. So,
well, next word I'll choose is skeptical. And I think similar to you, I'm not really sure what people are trying to do and who's who. And I'm not really sure what's going on and why yet. So I'm curious to see what that's all about. And then the last one is going to be algebra, because that seems to be like the main focus in how they're calculating their maths. I think I'm good at algebra, but this show makes me feel like I'm not. And I'm not really understanding how they're like looking at pictures of stars and birds flying in the sky and how they're able to come up with the numbers to quantify it. But
yeah. No, I
guess
hear you. I kept thinking, what are the numbers I'm supposed to see in this spiral?
Yeah.
Again, back to Google, It was like,
yeah.
where are the numbers? What's this pattern?
Now, it's hard to know who is who. It's not clear who the bad guy is. And I think they want us to think it's Taylor and her boss Olson, if I'm remembering his name correctly, where they're like undercover in this hideaway house and they're just monitoring.
Working for an agency, which, I was a little skeptical if that agency was legit.
At first I was like, why are they watching mathematicians do math? And they're just like documenting it, and she's uploading pictures of math up to the cloud, and these people then, do what they have to do, her higher ups or whatever the case is. I think that Taylor has good intentions. I don't think she's like really part of the problem. And I think maybe the people that she works for aren't good people. And I think they're trying to like make us think, oh, it's this agency and they're protecting the world.
I think it said national security when her boss was typing in, when she was like, you got to let them know what's going on. That symbol looked legit. I'm pretty sure it said national security. And so my take was that there's so many people after understanding who's the smartest person. And if somebody comes up on their radar, everyone's trying to understand how much do they know? What are they doing? So I felt like it was a group watching Taylor's group.
Hmm.
I don't know if there's a mole within her organization, which that typically happens. If it is truly a national security agency of the
Yeah, I
United
don't
States of America, I would hope they're not doing the dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely people watching people, and it's not, I'm not sure who is who. The person that I'm most skeptical of right now, maybe it's misplaced. I do think the bartender is an interesting character.
Okay.
It seems maybe a little far-fetched because it seems innocent. He's working at this bar. It's not like he was being followed and then met him at the table kind of thing. But obviously, this bar is located near Cambridge, where these professors, or at least the one professor, is being monitored.
Right.
So I don't think it's far-fetched for him to be there to surveil in person. What do you think?
So you're like, I don't know. Okay, well, that would have been something you caught on to that I didn't. I wasn't really thinking about him. I think, when he looked at the work, I guess it definitely would have been a giveaway if he was like trying to take pictures of it or had his cell phone or something like that, right? But and then the only other time I saw him was when we were in the dining hall or something and he was cleaning up. So I don't know if I have that about him just yet. I'm curious about this other student that died, Sophia, I think it was. Sophia. I'm intrigued to understand who she was, how she was on this same path. My assumption is similar to what you were talking about already about, like, is this something that can happen? So are there constantly just people trying? They know they're going to have these pop up of people trying to uncover this secret key of sorts, right? Kind of like the Matrix. Like they always have these pop-ups of people who want to know the truth and try to bring it down. And so I don't know. I'm really curious to understand and hope that they talk more about her and what that connection is, or what the connection was with the professor. And
Did
who
they say
killed the professor? Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Did they say how Sophia died? I forget.
No, I just remember them saying she died 30 years ago.
You know what I find interesting? Kind of going off topic here. The wife.
Yeah.
The wife, she's just like, I didn't think I caught her title. She's into like archaeology or like digging stuff up. Libraries.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Archives and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Her name was Andrea, I think.
Yes, yeah. The coincidence that there was the explosion in Baghdad and that's how they discovered this ancient library underground. So obviously they called her in. Is there a coincidence that it just happens to also be the solution that everyone is getting killed over?
Right.
And her husband is a mathematician, and he was the one that was like,
drop this. You need to drop it now.
I don't know that it's a coincidence. I think there's a reason she was looped into it.
Right.
I just want to know, like, who's this like overarching power over these things?
Right.
Like, who's dictating it?
I think there's multiple people, because who was the one on the computer with the professor saying the email, I think it was, or some private chat, paraphrasing, of course, but basically they had an agreement, like he wouldn't work on whatever it was. Yeah,
I don't know.
So how do they know? So that means multiple people are tapping into those cameras that are watching him.
Yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of unknowns, and we just have to keep watching.
Yeah, and maybe other things will stand out. I thought it'd be fun for us to choose a character winner of the week, and that's across all shows that we're watching.
I apologize. I do not know her name in the show at the moment, but Brianna, Miss Bandana from Severance,
I like that. Let's go with it.
From the mammalian nurturing with the cowbell, she really woke me up and really kind of got my mind going about other things on the show. So I'm going to give her my award. What about you?
So my win of this week is Dylan. Dylan's innie is classic. I'm not going to give him the win each week, but I love his character. So the reason why he's the win this week for me is when he met his Audie's wife. This is so weird. But when he met his Audie's wife and she was telling him about his Audi and how he couldn't hold down a job, and he was like,
He dumb?
No.
He a dick?
No.
I was floored. I said, Dylan.
Oh my gosh. I
So
love
yeah,
that
that's
scene
my
too.
yeah, that's my win of the week.
Oh, I love Dylan too, so it's a very solid choice.
Nice. All right. Well, until next time,
Yeah.
I'll see you at the same place.
Same place, same time. And for those of you watching, if you happen to have a character of the week, feel free to drop that in the comments. And you know the deal. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, and be here next week.